Number 6. The Book of Abram, Abraham von Worms. If you're a horror fan, you might be familiar with the Book of Abram. It was featured in the 2016 Film Festival Standout, A Dark Song, and it's a Jewish magic text that dates back to the 14th or 15th century. But it's the 19th and 20th century magicians who really brought this book to the forefront of modern occultism. The centerpiece of the Abram is an intense ritual that takes several months to complete, and it's aimed at allowing the sorcerer to commune with their holy guardian angel. After 3 days of intimacy with the angel, the sorcerer must summon and conquer all the demons of hell. The book's reputation as a cursed text might well stem from the fact that it contains instructions for defeating the world's evil spirits, which they probably don't want getting out. But the irony is that the book also includes spells for conjuring up some juggling spirit monkeys, turning someone into a donkey, and even compelling a spirit to bring you some cheese. So if you're feeling adventurous, it might be worth the risk. What do you think? Would you read this book? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join our creepy family. Number 5. The Great Omar, Austin Patrick Torney. The Great Omar is actually a custom-made edition of quatrains by an 11th century Persian poet named Omar Khayyam. The book itself was relatively unremarkable until 1911, when a renowned bookbinder named Francis Sangorsky was commissioned to create an elaborate edition of the book. Sangorsky was given an unlimited budget and only 2 mandates: to make the final product worth whatever price he decided on, and to create the greatest modern binding in the world. Sangorsky went all out on this project, spending 2 years on every detail. To get the design elements just right, he even borrowed a human skull for reference and bribed the zookeeper to feed a live rat to a snake so he could observe the angle of his jaws as the reptile fed. He used 100 square feet of gold leaf, 5,000 pieces of leather, and more than 1,000 precious gemstones, including rubies, topazes, and emeralds. But despite its extravagance, the commissioning bookshop had trouble selling it. They eventually tried to market it to the American book market, but a dust-up with U.S. Customs officers caused the book to be sent back to London. The book was finally sold at an auction to an American buyer, but for less than half of its original asking price. The Great Omar then hitched another cross-Atlantic ride, on the Titanic. Unfortunately, Sangorsky drowned while on vacation with his family just 10 weeks later. The book was never recovered from the wreckage of the Titanic, but it was recreated in the 1930s using Sangorsky's original plans. The bookbinder Stanley Bray finished his version just as World War II began. To protect the new edition from German bombs, it was placed in a vault, and the temperatures inside the container rose so high that the book's leather and paper components were melted and charred. Only the jewels were spared. But Bray was undeterred and created a 3rd edition of the Great Omar. This version seems to have escaped the curse, and the book is safely housed in the British Library. Cursed or just superstitions? Would you risk reading this book? Let us know in the comments. Number 4. Voynich Manuscript, Anonymous. The Voynich manuscript has been feared for centuries. This bizarre manuscript is filled with whimsical illustrations of heavy-headed flowers and naked pregnant women frolicking in 15th century waterslides. The drawings are painted over with washes of color, at times crudely, but they are quite lively and intriguing nonetheless. The naked figures in the illustrations have distended bellies and stick-like arms and legs, but their earnest expressions give them a whimsical quality. The botanical drawings in the manuscript are no less strange. In one case, there are even 2 disembodied heads with vexed expressions sprouting from a single plant. Written in the 15th century, it's a 240-page book that nobody can read. I mean, the whole thing is written in some kind of weird language that nobody has been able to decipher. Isn't that creepy? People have been trying to crack the code for years, but nobody has been successful. Some have speculated that it was written by people from another country, an unknown species, or even aliens. Nobody knows for sure. But what we do know is that there's a curse on this book. It's said that if someone finally does decipher the language of this cursed book, a fatal curse will be unleashed upon them. That's why many people have steered clear of it over the years. Who knows what kind of unspeakable horrors are contained within those pages? Comment what you think. Number 3. Codex Gigas, a monk and the devil. The Devil's Bible, the name itself, is surely a sign to start running the other way. What makes it so scary? Well, for starters, it weighs a whopping 72 kilograms, even though it only has 320 pages. But that's not even the weirdest part. The book was written in the 16th century by a Buddhist monk who made a vow to his master, but ended up breaking it. As punishment, he locked himself in a room and decided to write everything he had learned in his life in a book in just one night. Sounds impossible, right? Well, he managed to write 310 pages without eating or drinking anything. But here's where things get really creepy. The monk couldn't finish the last 10 pages, so he called upon someone for help. And that someone was none other than the king of demons, Lucifer. Yep, he sold his soul to the devil to complete the book. After finishing the last 10 pages, the monk died, and the devil himself took the pen to complete the book. Today, the Codex Gigas is kept in a Vatican City locker alongside the Grand Grimoire and a haunted doll after performing Christian rituals. The twist is that the last 10 pages, written by the devil himself, were stolen. No one knows who took them or how they're being used. What do you think? Let us know below. Number 2. The Book of Soyga, James Orchard Hallowell. It's a Latin book that's rumored to have some pretty dark content. It's also known as Alderia Civ Soyga Vocer, or Soyga, the book that kills. It was actually written way back in the 16th century, but it was lost for a long time. That is until it was discovered in the British Library in 1994. The book is made up of several smaller books, including Liber Alderia, Liber Radiorum, and Liber Decimus Septimus, as well as a bunch of other minor books. Together they make up a treatise on magic. But what makes this book really mysterious is the fact that there are 40,000 randomly distributed letters set up in schemes throughout the text. It's definitely an intriguing read. Apparently, there are only 2 copies of it in existence, and one of them was owned by a guy named John Dee. He spent his whole life trying to decode the book, but had trouble with the last 36 sections. Dee was so obsessed with understanding it that he even asked the Archangel Uriel for help. Uriel revealed that the book was created after Adam destroyed heaven, and that only Archangel Michael could read it. But here's the kicker. Folklore says that anyone who interprets those last 36 pages is doomed to die within 2.5 years. So maybe it's best to leave this one to the experts or just leave it alone altogether. Will you risk your life, or should we just leave this book alone? Let us know in the comments. Number 1. The Grand Grimoire, Antonio del Rabina. Have you ever heard of the Grand Grimoire? They call it the Gospel of Satan for a good reason. It's a 16th century occult book written by a guy possessed by the devil. The book is full of dark incantations and instructions on how to summon demons and raise spirits from the dead. Sounds like some seriously dark stuff, right? Despite the temptation to talk to the departed, it's said that opening the book is equal to selling your soul to the devil. And that is why the Grand Grimoire isn't available for purchase, and the original copy is kept hidden in the Vatican secret archives. It's one of the most terrifying manuscripts ever discovered, and it's been feared for centuries. So if you ever come across this book, be cautious. Don't risk your soul just to see what's inside. Would you sell your soul for a glimpse of this book? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And that wraps up today's video, my horror cult. Let us know which one you like the most. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more slaying content.